This past week, I ended up doing a good bit of fasting. I actually fasted for 5 days. 2 days into that fast, I ended up going to get all you can eat sushi. It just happened to work out that way. I had plans with my mom for lunch, and we were gonna go to this place. I was just gonna sit and kind of watch her eat, but then we were redirected to another place and had all you can eat sushi. And my body was like, celebrate, Rachel, celebrate. And so I celebrated. I had a lot of sushi, but then I continued my fast and I went for 3 more days. So it was very, very interesting. This was like the longest, and they have like fasting mimicking diet, and they have all different types of fasting. You can look up Walter Longo for that mimicking diet, but basically, I wasn't tripping about this little sushi break intermediate within the process that I was doing the fast, because the reason that I was doing the fast was to slow down and rebuild and re-clean out everything that's going on in my body. And this is known as a process, we call it metabolic autophagy. So it's a cellular process, it's a cellular cleansing process. Like, it's essentially our immune system. So our immune system is constantly working and surveilling the area and cleaning out anything that doesn't belong there. It could be broken and damaged, right? Like you could have a neuron, a single neuron, a brain cell with thousands of mitochondria in it, and let's say like 80% of them aren't doing their work. Well, there's other components of the cell that work like Pac-Man, and they will go and clean out those mitochondria that aren't working. So another person to look up would be David Sinclair. He does a lot of work with sirtuins and longevity. So fasting is the number one way to increase your longevity and also to increase your health span because of its ability to reboot itself. So while I'm going through this fast, I'm having all these thoughts come up. And that's the best thing about fasting, is when you are taking a break from food, you really get the opportunity to observe like your inner there's like an inner person that just wants and it craves, and it's always wanting to be satisfied and pleasured through all different types of modalities in life, not just through food but through other things. And you really get the chance when you stop eating food, because food is such a distracting thing in our culture. It's such a like, I've had relations with food that has not been like conscious in serving me, and it's hard to remember that all the time. But when you fast, you really get to observe like that part of yourself that is just like ravenous, like a ravenous animal. And it's good to just sit with that. And again, it makes, like, when you go to eat, it makes everything that you're eating and enjoying so much more enjoyable. And then on top of all of the health benefits from cleaning and repairing the body, and essentially cleaning and repairing your DNA, if you're cleaning up your cells, you're cleaning up your DNA. So the environment of the cell shows an expression to the DNA, and it's all just waiting on signals. So it's really cool. Dr. Minnie Peltz is great. Fast Like a Girl, her book is phenomenal. The reason why I did the fasting this past week was because it was the week after my cycle. So if you are looking to fast with your cycle, that's a great book, a great resource, Dr. Minnie Peltz. Look her up, because typically after our menstrual cycle, our estrogen is wanting to be a little bit elevated in the body. Like, our HRV goes up, and it's fascinating. While I was doing this fast, let me mention it while I talk about HRV. My Aura ring tracks my HRV. So while I was participating in this fast, my HRV doubled most of the nights that I was doing the fast. So it's wonderful to watch the results of that. If you have a way of like tracking what your body's doing, measurements like heart rate at night and stuff, experiment. It's so fun. Like, fasting it's free. I mean, it'll save you money. It saves me money, I gotta tell you that. And so and it's healthy for you. The most challenging thing that I had during this time period was believing in my own body. myself. That's always been a hard thing. I think it's a hard thing for everybody, I guess. It's been a hard thing for me. And when you're really in the fast, and sometimes you can get moments of fear. You're like, oh, is my blood sugar gonna get too low? Am I gonna, like, do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? Like, oh my God, am I gonna get a muscle cramp or something like that? And it's just like, no, your body, my body, this is the conversation that I have with myself. Rachel, your body is so strong. It is meant to go through this process. What are these uncomfortable feelings? Sit with them. It's just fears. And like, what do you do when you get into a cold plunge or a sauna, or when you're working out? You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in your body's ability to repair, cleanse, and be strong and take care of you. And that's what this past fasting cycle that I went through, kind of gave to me. I've always, that's what really got me on this path, was studying fasting and just the regenerative repairing of the body, of the brain, like mental health, nervous system diseases, the chronic diseases that we have, hormone issues. I mean, fasting is a way to tap in and reset the body at such a deep level, and it costs you no money to do that, you know? So it's so important always when talking about fasting to, if you talk about without, what you do without, you have to talk about what's within. And so that period of without, that nothingness, doesn't come from processed foods and, you know, just junk and sugar. Like, I used to fast while I was still eating a lot of processed foods here and there, and my fasts were more difficult because those materials and those chemicals, the body doesn't understand and recognize that, you know? So the challenge is, like, you go to look at an ingredient label and you're reading the ingredients on the back, and if you can't understand the ingredients, how are your cells going to understand that? How's your DNA going to understand that? You know, when you eat an apple, you just eat an apple. The apple is the ingredient. It has the amino acids in it, and it's going to communicate with the DNA because that's what the DNA communicates with, amino acids. So, you know, choose the highest source of nutrient-dense foods that you can choose. For me, what that looks like is, like, I'm about to make some grass-fed ground beef, pasture-raised ground beef. Pasture-raised because I want my little animals to be out in the sunlight, because it's important for their immune system just as it is important for us. And some little sweet potatoes, perhaps. But yeah, so and resting during a fast, that's probably the next biggest thing too. When you're playing with the fires of, like, pushing your immune function and boundaries, just like overtraining, you know, when you're fasting, I tend to sleep more. So I definitely go to bed earlier, because it's naturally, when we're fasting, our body's naturally hopping and sticking into their circadian rhythm just a little bit better, a little bit easier. Heart rate eases up, lower, body temperature stabilized. And so rest is definitely important too. It's always important. Work hard, play hard, rest hard, all the good things. So yeah, that's what's been happening lately. Getting regrounded is a big theme right now. So I'm sending my grounded energy to you if you happen to be watching this. Like, share, and subscribe. If you found the video helpful, share it with somebody. Share it with your grandparents. Share it with your parents. As we get older, we need to practice the process of autophagy. We lose the ability to go through autophagy, because autophagy is it's correlated with our muscle function. We lose that as we age. So share it with the people you love. Tell them you love them. And I love you, so good luck.